YouTube. I know it's been a long time and you haven't seen me in a while, and I haven't uploaded any videos right now. I am working on a vlog because recently my parents and I went to Tennessee, and I did some really good pictures and got a lot of footage from that trip. And obviously I went off the rails on my diet, so right now I'm kind of in the process of bringing the reins back in and making my diet more strict and getting back to normal with that. And also I'm just dealing with a lot. Like, my grandpa has been sick with cancer, and we now just found out that it came back after it healing and doing really well, to the point that he was just on immunotherapy, and now he's got to go back on the same chemo he was on, and we don't really know how he's going to be affected by that. And I'm still navigating trying to be alone. It's not been a full year yet. It'll be a year in November that I changed my life forever, and I ended my 4-year relationship. In that process, over the summer, I had somebody that I went to high school with reach out to me, and I wanted to see where it went and see if it would work, and unfortunately it didn't. And today I had to make the difficult decision of laying down the law, I guess you could say, over text message, and just telling him that, it's probably not in my best interest to be pursuing romantic relationships right now. Do I want to be with somebody? Do I want to have a boyfriend right now? Absolutely. But when we went to Tennessee, I was just reminded of more of what I need to work on with my heart, and more I need to do with God, and more that I need to do with my therapist. I do think I still struggle with self-esteem and self-image. I sometimes am very hard on myself, and I think very dark thoughts about myself, and I'm really hard on myself when it comes to that. And I really beat myself up over the fact that we didn't really eat all that healthy while we were there, and it really just made me very self-conscious. And I get nervous about my photo being taken, because if it's at the wrong angle, it doesn't look good to me, and I scrutinize it all the time. And not to mention, I also had some disagreements with my parents, and I think that as a result of those disagreements, I have more that I need to work on with my heart, and I need to figure out why I get so upset and why I blow things up that shouldn't be blown up. I really need to bring this up with my therapist. Like, I haven't really talked to her about it, and that's the biggest reason why I also had to lay down the law with this guy. And he also was struggling with his own stuff. Like, I don't want to get into it on here because I'm not in the business of bashing people or talking negatively about anybody. I don't want to do that on here because he's still a good person. He reached out to me on his own. I wasn't really looking for anything when he reached out to me. He just kind of shared with me how he was feeling. And I wanted so badly to see if it would work out and see if maybe my feelings would change, but I came to find out that he just struggles with a lot, and it's a lot more than what I struggle with, and to be honest, it's a little bit more than I'm equipped to help him with. And I had to make the decision to continue to choose myself right now, and I hate to do that, and it broke my heart to do that. Like right now, I'm holding back a lot of my emotions, even though it really affected me, because no one really likes to hurt other people. If you have any kind of heart at all, you don't want to hurt other people, and you don't want to hurt yourself. And in this situation, I not only hurt him, I kind of hurt myself. And there's also that sense of panic, because it's like, if it's not him, then who is it going to be? Sorry, my thing keeps moving. But anyway, if it's not him, who is it going to be that's going to be in my life, or am I going to be alone forever? Like, I'm still struggling with those thoughts. Like, part of me enjoys being single and being able to do things on my own terms and not have to worry about answering to anybody. But there's also that very big part of me that also misses having a partner and misses being able to do things with them. It's just a big change and a big adjustment to deal with, especially when you had someone the last 4 years of your life to at least have something to do something with, and you weren't on your own entirely, even though you were just going through the motions. I'm going to pause right here because I'm at the gas station and I need to get gas. I'll get back with you guys in a second. Okay, I'm back. I had to get gas, so I had to pause for a minute. But anyway, as I was saying, it's hard to get used to, like, doing everything by yourself when you spend the last 4 years of your life with someone to do stuff with, you know? I have friends, but I keep my circle relatively small, and a lot of the friends that I have are busy, and they either don't live with me in this state and have their own families, or they are busy. They're older than me, and they have a lot more obligations and a busier life than I have. And, you know, I have to do a lot of stuff by myself, and it kind of sucks because I don't have somebody to go on road trips with. I don't have somebody to go to concerts with. A lot of the bands that I listen to, people have never heard of, and they aren't really interested in going, or the ones that do want to go. I am so sorry that I keep moving you guys around. But anyway, the ones that do want to go, I can't really trust because they won't pay for their ticket or what have you. They leave it up to me to foot the bill, you know, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. And another thing that kind of has brought my attention back to myself and not so much other relationships is, is the fact that, you know, my brother went on his first date in like 10 years. And just that experience that I had him tell me about, like he told me about it on his own. Just that whole experience right there, it's kind of made me have a sour taste in my mouth. And like I feel this sense of frustration that it's not happening for me. Maybe a little bit of jealousy. And also, you know, as his sister, no one that he tries to be with will be good enough in my eyes. Just like no one I try to be with will be good enough in his eyes. And he has already mentioned that to me, and I mentioned the same thing for him. And then another thing that I've done that I notice it isn't good is, you know, I've seen what she looks like. I've seen a picture of her online, and I've unfairly judged her based on what I've seen and what he has told me. And I'm trying not to do that. It's just really hard for me. Because I'm also used to my brother only being with one person, and people that know us as a family know who that is, you know, and that's never going to happen because she chose to, you know, ruin that. And we were good friends. I was good friends with her for the longest time, and recently had to completely break up with her over the phone because my final straw was when she blocked me over something that my brother said or did, and I got tired of being put in the same category as my brother, and I just had to do what was best for me, and I had to let her go. And that was really hard, and I think part of me is guarded because of that. Like, I'm hesitant to become friends with somebody that my brother is with, because I'm not sure if it's going to work out, you know, or if they're going to turn into another bad person for him, I guess I should say, to put it nicely. Because the other ones he tried to be with after my friend were not much better. I mean, one of them wanted to steal everything he owned, and if she got away with it, she would have. Like, she would have literally robbed him blind. I mean, she was already stealing a car from us that my mom was helping her pay for, that was in her name, in my mom's name, and it was just a whole thing. It was a whole disaster, and police were called, and it was just a whole thing. And I'm a little bit guarded because of those experiences, you know, because I tried to get close to that girl too, and it didn't work out, obviously, and it's exhausting because you kind of go on the breakup journey with them, with your sibling, as they date someone, you know, especially if you want to be close to them like he's close to them, you know. It's hard. So for a while, I'm going to be kind of guarded. I mean, I'm not going to be mean to her if I ever meet her in person, but part of me is going to be really guarded. And, of course, right now I'm doing a heart check. You know, I made a really difficult decision today by being honest with my friend and texting him and saying, look, I just cannot turn this into anything besides friendship. And I told him, I said, when I went to Tennessee, it really opened my eyes to what I still have to work on in my life. And, you know, it was very hard for me because there's also that small part of me that, you know, hopes for the best, wants it to work out, and wants to I don't know, wants to just see where it goes and take the opportunity because someone's in my life. And then I build up that sense like I did with my last boyfriend that I was with for 4 years. I build up that fear of being alone, and I didn't want that. I could see that kind of creeping up on me as well, and I personally don't want to see what happens, in terms of his romantic life from here. Like, I kind of want to keep my head buried in the sand, if that makes sense. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate. I mean, in a way, the person doing the breaking up kind of feels like they failed. At least I do, in a way. I feel like I failed. I feel like maybe there was more I could have done with him. But at the same time, we had conversations while I was on vacation that kind of felt like broken records to me. And, like, I get this sense that every time we were talking that there was this pressure on my side to either perform in a way that was somewhat flirty and girlfriendish, even though we were just friends. And I had this sense of pressure that I had to give him a decision, like, right then and there to be his girlfriend. Like, it was constant in all of the conversations we were having, and it was getting very exhausting. And I just kept hearing this inkling from God that I needed to do something about this. And, I'm trying to move that so that it doesn't keep moving. But anyway, I needed to do something about this and not, let it go on and on and on to the point that I'm just leading him on and not doing the responsible thing and being honest about where I'm at and what I'm feeling. So today I took a brave step and I was honest. And I think what boiled down to it was the fact that, tonight I have church and I want to be there and I want to go. And I was nervous about him going. He said something about going just to see what it was all about. And I had a feeling he was doing all of this to try to impress me and get in my good graces. And I do feel like a lot of the changes he was making was just to try to get me to make a decision to be with him. And I knew that was not healthy for either one of us. And obviously, after I was brutally honest with him, he said, I'm not going to come tonight. But anyway, he was going to come. And my mom didn't want my dad around him because my dad was probably going to tell him to stay away from me. And I didn't really want to be around him because I basically a month ago put up the boundary saying, hey, this is what's going on. You need to work on getting better. You need to work on what you're dealing with and what you're holding on to because it's not healthy. And let me just put it this way. I'm not going to go into details because that's not my business to tell. But what he was dealing with was very unhealthy, and it would have led to a very unhealthy future had I chose to have a romantic relationship with him. And he was also in such a hurry the whole time that we were trying to hang out. Like, he kept wanting to jump immediately from getting to know each other and being friends to let's be more than friends. And that was getting very exhausting to be pressured constantly to have to move that fast. And I didn't want to move that fast. And I'm sure there's someone out there for him that would move at that pace, but it's not me. So, I'm trying to keep all these things in my head so that when I go back and think about the decision, I don't rethink it. Because like him, I can overthink. And here's another point I want to make that I haven't made yet about this experience was the whole time we were kind of pursuing this and trying to see if it would become more than friends. It was like God was holding up a mirror to my face and showing me what not to do, when I do get into the relationship that God has for me. Because I do realize some things that I did in the past that have probably led some of my past partners to get so mad at me. Now, I'm not condoning and I'm not justifying their abusive behavior and the toxic things they said to me. But I am looking at myself and what I could have done differently to be a better partner for them and a better partner for, anyone I would have been with. And number one being, not relying so much on texting, not making the texting constant like he always would, and not constantly breathing down their neck and not giving them a chance to have their own life and their own independence. And I realized how much that irritated me, that I felt like I didn't have independence with this whole experience. And I now know what not to do and not to put other partners through. Because in a way, I would get so carried away like he would. I would get attached too fast, and I would, kind of make them my whole world and my whole universe. And that's not something healthy that anybody should do with anyone. And I'm realizing that now, and I'm kind of grateful for the lesson. And I know now how not to be, as hard as it is, And I am sad that I made the decision that I did, because there's always some twinge of sadness when you have to do something that God is calling you to do. God has been calling me to do this for weeks now. It really should have happened the day that I went over to his house and I said, I think that we need to spend some time apart. That should have been when, and I apologize for the shaking in advance. I'm on the interstate. But anyway, that should have been when things should have ended officially, and I should have stopped talking to him entirely. Now, we did end things cordially. I did tell him I'm not going to block him, and I mean that, because he's not toxic by any means as a person, and I don't think he's a horrible person. I just think that we both are broken people, and we need to work on our own things. And he lives far away from me, and that wasn't going to work at any point whatsoever. And the decisions he was making was rooting him where he lives, so there was no room for him to move anywhere, because he was already rooting himself in his church over there, signing up for things over there, and insisting that his denomination that he's always been a part of as a child was the way to go. And that's okay. It's okay to believe those things, but to not be willing to compromise or bend or have issues with my church, those were red flags too that I was trying to ignore, and I shouldn't have ignored. Because I feel like you should be compatible in those categories if that's what's important to you. I know some of you guys that subscribe to me and watch my videos don't believe what I do, and that's okay. I'm just saying, if religion and what you believe is important to you, it should be equal among your partner, so that you're equally yoked, That's how I believe and how I approach relationships, You could be approaching them differently. It could be you both want to believe the same political party. It's like if you didn't believe the same political party or something, and you were living your lives completely different and constantly would disagree to the point that it would be blow up fights, You don't want stuff like that for your life. And that's what I'm trying to remember about myself too. I'm trying to think of something that isn't so much God, because I know some of you guys don't believe in that, and that's okay. I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to shove God down anybody's throat, but I'm here to tell you that was one of the contributing factors as to why I needed to make this decision, And it was a very hard decision to make, and I'm still reeling from it, But I have to remember that there was a time in which I never talked to him, and we never did anything. There was a before him, and I could get back to the state of being before him in no time. I personally don't think he will talk to me anymore. He may occasionally reach out. I don't know, but I think he's done talking to me every day, which I think is going to be good, because I kind of got tired of the facade. I got tired of just trying to keep the peace and keep him from getting hurt and walking on eggshells, and that's what it was turning into, He would overthink to the point that I was constantly having to defend what I said, why I said it. Texting is not good for that very reason. It does cause people to overthink, but this was getting to the point that I was being drained. And like just today, he was asking me, why are you acting so distant? Why are you not talking to me like you used to? Why are you not flirting with me? And I finally just had to cut to the chase and say, look, this is why. And it wasn't so much him, it was mostly me. Because in reality and in all honesty, it is me. There were things that I've been ignoring that I still need to work on in therapy and need to address. And my parents kind of brought it up to me a little bit bluntly when we were in Tennessee. I mean, we had some disagreements, and my dad, when I say he, my dad even brought it up and said, God isn't going to bless you the more you deal with these things and don't address them properly like you should with God. And he's right. I mean, not only will he not bless me the more I keep a door open that he's been telling me to close, he also won't bless me if I keep holding on to negative feelings and I let things deteriorate between me and my dad. And the enemy loves to do that. He knows when things are going well between my dad and I, and he does whatever he can to destroy that. And it makes me so angry and frustrated. Like, I just see this pattern where he and I will do really well for a while, and then something happens, and then the devil's right back into this thing, and he destroys our chances at becoming stronger together. And that's not okay. And, you know, it's something that I really need to work on. And I think that I should just totally organically not be pursuing any romantic relationships at the moment. Am I open to talking to people and getting to know them, and talking to guys and getting to know them? Yes, of course. And building a solid foundation of a friendship? Of course. You know, part of me is feeling discouraged because with my ex-boyfriend that I was with for 4 years, we had that solid foundation of a friendship. And I don't know how I'm going to ever find that in someone else, you know? What was missing was foundational things with my last partner. You know, he lacked the motivation to move out of his mom's house. He lacked the motivation to find a better job and earn a decent pay to be the leader spiritually with us and be the leader I need to have in my life. And, you know, I'm not saying he's a horrible person, but there were a lot of things that he lacked. You know, I mean, yeah, we were good friends. We got along well in that regard, but there was no romance. There was no attraction. He wasn't very clean. And, you know, there were things that I just ignored because I wanted to have that partner. I was afraid to be by myself. I didn't know what life looked like on the other side of him. And now I'm almost coming up on a year since I did that. And I should be proud of myself. I know that I've made it this far. And I can't let something like this get me down. It's just a hurdle on the path of life. I have to remember that. And my brother brought a good point to me when we were talking about all of this, because, yeah, I did share with him, you know, my organic feelings about things that he's doing and the things that he did with this new person in his life. And I want to be happy for him and stuff. We've gone back and forth, and he was right. I mean, he said to me, on Messenger, he said, you know, you need to be quicker about saying next. You need to be quicker about judging character. Like, you need to be able to say, this is not for me, next, on the first meeting. And he's right. You know, I can't just go on the first date and then be like, oh yeah, this is going to work. This is that. I really have to be judging on what God is telling me. How do I feel overall? Do I think we're going to have things in common? Do I think I'm going to be treated right? Those are the things I need to be thinking about, you know? And looking back on this whole experience when I met up with the guy from high school, I don't know that I was thinking all that much about all that at first, you know? I was just thinking about maybe how this could work out. I was a bit out of my comfort zone because he doesn't seem like somebody I would go for on the outside, and I wanted to give the inside a try. We did have a couple good dates. We had good times together. We made some memories this summer. But at the end of the day, there were things that I was ignoring, not only within myself, but this whole situation I was ignoring. There were things that he seriously needs to get help on that I can't help him, that he needs some guidance on, and he needs prayer on, and he needs God to help him with. And I can't be the one to hold his hand and guide him through it. And had I decided to be with him and let that slide, the thing he was struggling with, it wouldn't have been good. It would have led to an even worse relationship experience, I feel like. You know, he may not see it in the moment, but the things he was struggling with would have led to other things that would have been very negative and detrimental to our relationship. And that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to go into detail. I don't want to bash him. He's not a horrible person. He's just broken. And he needs help. And I'm hoping that I was at least able to lead him to that, you know, and lead him to a stronger relationship with God. That's all I can ask for and all I can pray for, you know. And I have to be okay with whatever happens from here. And if it means he never speaks to me again and we never see each other again, and he quits the program that he was doing at my church, I have to be okay with that. Yeah, it's going to make me sad and it's going to break my heart to see that happen, but it's going to be okay. I have to remember that it's going to be okay. And it may not be okay for a little while, but eventually it'll be okay. It's just like what I have to keep in mind from the 4-year relationship that I let go of. The first day it happened, it hurt so badly. And I didn't think it was ever going to be okay from there. sense of freedom from the decision that I made. You know, I felt, as sad as I felt, I still felt free. I still felt like the canvas was blank again, and I could really focus on God and get hooked up with church. And, you know, I'm really deeply into my church right now. You know, they're making changes that I'm kind of nervous about because I'm a creature of habit, and I'm a little hesitant on what this means. They're relaunching themselves, but I'm hoping it means good things. I'm hoping it was organically produced from the pastors, this idea. I hope it didn't come from some kind of organization that I'm not a fan of, but we'll find out. I'm still grateful for the relationships and friendships I have built since starting going there in October of last year. I do know that I have grown a little bit since doing all of this. I mean, as soon as I let go of my 4-year relationship, I dove into this church and I got involved, and I'm on the Lights team, and I really like it. And I'm hoping that I can dive back into that again and dive into work, and then eventually what happened to me today will just become a distant memory. In a way, I'm a little bit relieved that he's not coming to church, because I do think it would have made it really awkward after having this conversation. But honestly, I just had to be honest with him. I mean, all the conversations we had been having the last few days have been taking the life out of me. I had to constantly defend what I was saying, re-explain what I was saying, why I said what I said, and I have to remember how exhausting that was whenever I go back and think about my decision and try to build up regrets. Because the enemy's always going to try to make me regret whatever decision I make, even when it's the right decision. And I don't think God would put it in my head to remain single if I wasn't supposed to remain single right now. I mean, I think if he wanted me to be with my friend, I would have been, you know? We would have already had a label on it, and I was hesitant to put a label on it from day one. And that should have been something right there to remember, that God was trying to tell me right there that, hey, Lacey, wake up. This is not something you want for your future. You know, you need to focus on some things that you're ignoring about yourself, as well as this situation right here, you know. Be the seed planter, but don't carry it away to more than just being the seed planter, is what he's telling me. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that a lot. I have planted so many seeds, it makes me crazy. And it really disappoints me that I don't sometimes get to see it through. And it also disappoints me that sometimes the people I plant the seeds with give all that up when I give the relationship up, you know? I do think a lot of what he was doing was just to impress me. Because I did try to get him signed up with the program that my church does called Freedom. And he's all signed up. He went to the first meeting and everything, but after today, he now told me he has to think about going. And that does make me question, you know? But I can't worry about it. See, that's the thing. I have to remember what God said. All I can do is pray for him. I can't worry about the fallout from this. Just like I can't worry about what my ex-boyfriend's family thinks. I can't worry about them hating me. I can't worry about going where he lives, going to the town that he lives and shopping there. I can't worry about things like that. I can't worry about what's going to happen in the future. I have to trust God with it. I can't, you know, stress myself out about stuff like that. And that's one thing I have to remind myself. And whenever I feel those moments, I need to pray. Like, tonight I plan on going to church, and I need to get on that altar, and I need prayer. Not just for my family and my grandpa, but for me too. Because I'm struggling on the inside still, you know? Healing is not linear. I've come to notice that you will go on the upswing for so long, and then eventually it's not linear anymore, and you find yourself going on the downswing. And right now I feel like I'm heading for a downswing, you know, because just a lot of things that have happened lately, and me backsliding on my self-image and being really self-conscious about my body and not liking how I look. You know, I need to work on those things. You know, it's important that I do. I can't worry about what he chooses to do. I can't worry about hurting him. I have to do what's best for me. And it's hard, because I've got a big heart and I have a strong sense of empathy. I hate to hurt people. I hate to lose contact with people. I don't like any of those things. I don't like doing those things. But I think God is in the business of making us uncomfortable. Like, we need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And He is leading me to do so many things this past year since letting go of my ex-boyfriend. He is leading me to do so many things I'm uncomfortable with. And being brutally honest with someone is deeply uncomfortable with me. I mean, I've had it done to me. I've been broken up with before, and people have been brutally honest with me. But when it comes to me doing it, it's so hard. Because I know how that feels, and I don't like to make people feel the way I've been made to feel. You know, it's hard. It's hard for me to stick to boundaries, because I don't like people to be made to feel the way that I have been made to feel, because I know how that feels. I know the heaviness in your heart that you feel. I know the tears that you cry. I know the frustration and the anger that comes out of it, and I don't like people to share those feelings with me. Like, I can empathize with those feelings, but I don't want to be the reason someone feels those feelings, you know? And that's why I think I struggle so much with sticking to my guns on things when I know that I should. And I just feel this sense from God telling me that, hey, your life's gonna be okay without him. I have better plans for you, and it's just hard for me to fathom and wrap around my mind. Like, right now, I just feel kind of empty and kind of like, oh great, now I'm gonna be totally alone again, and I'm not gonna have anybody to talk to and nobody to share in my grief with besides my family. And sometimes they get sick of me. I mean, families always get sick of each other. That's just part of it, and that's also why I'm struggling right now with what to do in the future and going from here. But if you pray and you watch me, just be praying for me. I will be uploading a Tennessee vlog once I have it. I'm still working with my software on my computer to make it really cool with music and stuff and animations. I'm still trying to perfect my editing skills. They're not the greatest, but I'm trying to come up with a really good vlog for you guys to watch. So be on the lookout for that. For now, I'm just kind of sending you this car vlog / update thing. I don't recommend doing this. Recording yourself while you're driving, you're not really supposed to. So I highly don't recommend this, but I just wanted to do this because it's been like 5 months since my last video that I uploaded, and a lot's happened in those 5 months, you know, and it's just been kind of hard. And it's just stuff that I also need to bring up with my counselor, because I haven't brought it up with her lately. I mean, lately we've been talking about all the personal growth I've done, but now I think it's time to get back to the nitty-gritty and kind of tell her internally how am I struggling and the external circumstances that have led to me feeling this way as well. So, but I'm going to sign off here because I'm probably going on a 30-minute video, and that's going to take a long time to upload. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the rest of your summer and stepping into fall. Just be praying for me if you pray, and thinking of me, and I will upload more content soon. This was just kind of an impromptu updating video because I just felt like I needed to talk, and you guys are kind of like my therapy when I don't have my therapist, you know, in front of me, as well as God. I pray and I journal about that as well. So, I mean, it really helps to just talk about this stuff. I know none of you guys can do anything about my situation except pray. And I know things are going to get better. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know I'm on the right path, because I'm not doing what I used to do in the past. I'm not seeking things out in my own strength. I'm not on any dating sites. I'm not forcibly putting myself in people's lives, you know. I'm just kind of letting life happen on its own. And, you know, I'm just trying to kind of go with the flow and let God handle me the way that I need to be handled, and I'm making the decisions he's leading me to make. And this is the first time in 4 years I've ever done this, you know, and it's been freeing, but at the same time it's hard because it makes me struggle to want to get attached to anybody, because it's like, am I going to end up feeling this way again about someone else? I don't know. But anyway, I'm doing okay for the most part. It's just some things that I need to check on with my heart and with my therapist and with God. So Anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. There'll be more content, so stay tuned.